Hello everyone, and welcome back to one of our world building videos for the Voyager's Guide to Ravean. At this point, we're actually going to cover another goddess. After the Scarlet Maiden, say it's going to be the Starlight Princess, so we'll jump to her page. The Starlight Princess is a good aligned goddess that serves as a sort of karmic justice within the world. Those that follow her are also arbiters of her justice. A forgiving goddess, the Starlight Princess is an almost playful and childlike goddess, seeking to forgive and forget, but not before a small amount of trickery. The Starlight Princess is often depicted as a blonde woman in a red dress with shining bright wings and a golden circlet on her head. She is a mirthful being with joy and laughter on her lips at almost every moment. Though her role as arbiter of justice for the people of the material planes is an odd position given to a seemingly immature goddess, instead, the Starlight Princess is a capable judge of wrongs, affording level punishments that fit the crimes of the perpetrator. Always a creative one, the Starlight Princess creates a unique and fitting punishment for each soul that she must judge. She sits at the nexus of souls and affords those with no particular place in the afterlife and the wicked a chance at redemption to serve a penance and find their eternal home in the comfort of her or another god's grace. The Starlight Princess has a strong following of mischief makers and arbiters of law. Those that pass judgments seek her wisdom and levity as they pass their own judgments. The people that follow the Starlight Princess are often found around the world, making mischief for both their and their goddess's enjoyment. They do, however, follow a simple set of rules and tenets that are prescribed by the goddess in an effort to maintain the balance of mirth making and justice, as well as the compassion doled out to the people of the world. The tenets of the Starlight Maiden are simple. Judgment must be balanced and fair to the crime. Those responsible for a sin are not without the chance of redemption. The soul of all mortal beings is pure by default. So, let's break that down a little more, right? The Starlight Princess, being a good goddess, does see the good in people. One of her tenets is that by default, human souls and other mortal souls are inherently pure. It is life itself and the various decisions that free will affords people that can corrupt a soul, right? So the very essence of a person is good by default. That is her ideal. So, operating on that ideal, when someone strays too far, when someone does things that would batter and wound the edges of their soul, corrupting it just slightly, her whole purpose is to enact some sort of a karmic justice to provide them with a fitting punishment for the efforts that they have made towards evil or darkness, but then still offer them forgiveness. She enforces a sort of penance on people to be able to keep them, let's say, supported, but also incentivized to follow the good track of life. Now, she does this in an effort to bring a little bit more levity to someone's life. This goddess and her followers, for that matter, are karmic justice kind of people, right? It's the equivalent of somebody jumping in line ahead of you at the coffee shop and yelling at the barista and then immediately dropping their drink and not being able to do anything with it, right? It's that is the karmic justice that they would deal out. So it feels almost like fate, like she manipulates and warps fate around this, but that's not quite how she operates. She operates by relying on her mortal followers on the material plane, right? She is locked to the outer planes and has to trust that her followers on the inner planes are able to interpret and use their best judgment to enact some sort of a justice, a fitting punishment. You don't exactly put someone in jail for 10 years and put them in prison for for 40 years or anything else like that for running a red light. You have to make the punishment fit the crime. And that's her whole deal, is we need to make the punishment fit the crime, but we also need to pull people out from this dark path. Doing that, having a little bit more mischief and mirth to the way that you fit your punishments is more likely to bring somebody out of this dark, abysmal, painful world. They'll be able to look at the experience of their penance as sort of this karmic justice and look back and eventually laugh at what they had to do. Right? And you might not laugh after you've been a complete ass to the barista and then drop your drink that you paid for. But down the line, if you were to look critically at yourself, you would see that that is very likely a fitting punishment for the crime of being rude and everything else along those lines. So her followers within the material plane might see a noble that is quickly eating up all of the food of the surrounding area and stockpiling and letting his people go hungry. And their followers might actively infiltrate this noble's household and remove the food or get it to spoil or return it to the people and cut off supply lines so that at least for that same amount of time the noble will go hungry as his people were. That is the karmic justice that they would enact. Now, the kind of almost more interesting part is where this goddess's domain tends to be. This goddess's domain is along the river Styx, which is odd for a childlike, very happy-go-lucky goddess, right? Sitting along the banks of the river of death, the river of souls itself. But seeing all of these mortal souls as never beyond redemption, she hopes to intercept them and find a home for these souls in an everlasting eternity, either under her care after they serve the penance, or under another god's care that she sees that they may fit. Someone that might benefit from a connection to one of the different gods because it's more in line with their ideals. She is not as enamored with the idea that a soul is beyond redemption and must travel to the hells for eternal punishment and damnation, or find themselves in oblivion. She would rather place them so that they can, experience eternal bliss or eternal servitude or eternal existence under the care of another deity. To do so, though, she must enact some sort of a penance for them to carry out. So it is not uncommon for her to take some souls under her care and afford them a sort of a challenge under her care within her own realm to serve, so that they serve their penance before moving on to what is effectively soul retirement, right? So even after death, she may force you to work, but she will take you from your destination being literal hell, where your soul is to be turned into a lemur and eventually other demons and devils and everything else along those lines, and place you under the care of another god that will not revere necessarily, but at least care for you. So that's the deal with the whole Starlight Princess. She's a little bit odd, but an entertaining goddess to run within a campaign. So if you were to run her in the campaign, I would almost treat her something a little bit closer to a mischievous little girl who enjoys seeing someone get their comeuppance. Now, she is not a little girl, she is a goddess, but that would be kind of the best way that I could think for her behavior to fit, is that she is an immature goddess. So, either way, thank you all for watching this video. I appreciate every kind of thought that you have. If you have any ideas or suggestions around the different gods and goddesses, don't hesitate to leave a comment. I would love to get some more ideas from people as I run them within my own campaign. And if you're interested, I will end up kind of leaving more details about all of the gods and goddesses and the rest of the world across these world building videos. So, keep in mind, it doesn't take much to make a difference out there. So be the difference that you want to see. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.